Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we've got some really interesting stuff to explore.
Hmm.
We're looking at the lyrics from Donnie Doom's song, Coolest Generation, and also some FAQs about its
Right.
themes.
The song itself and some of the context around it.
Exactly. And our mission really is to unpack what these sources are actually saying defines this group. What are the specifics?
Yeah. And to get a feel for that conviction behind the claim
Yeah,
being the coolest. That's a bold statement.
it really is. So let's dig in. Where better to start than the visuals? Fashion.
Okay.
The lyrics, like right away, say they wore mini skirts, bell bottoms, and tank tops.
Yep. Very specific.
And the FAQs confirm, yeah, these were seen as defining styles, places them, late 60s, 70s youth culture.
And what's interesting there, it's not just like random clothes.
Right.
Mini skirts, bell bottoms.
Right.
That shift really mirrored a broader social loosening,
Oh, okay. So more than just fashion.
Definitely. Think about the youth culture back then. It was about more personal expression, moving away from maybe the stricter stuff from before.
Yeah, that makes sense. The clothes make a statement.
They really do. A visual one.
Okay, so it's signaling a shift in attitude.
Yeah.
Then the song moves to transport, drove muscle cars.
Mhm. The muscle cars.
And the FAQs really highlight the symbolism. Power, freedom, youthfulness. All tied up in these, iconic American cars.
Such a potent symbol, right?
Yeah.
You have that post-war economic boom,
Yeah.
and these powerful cars, they sort of became emblems of that prosperity.
Uh-huh.
And, the freedom, the mobility for young people especially. It wasn't just getting from A to B.
No, it was the feeling, the open road.
Exactly.
Right.
Possibility. And, yeah, projecting that youthful energy. Definitely.
Absolutely. Fits that idea of a generation on the move, literally and, figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now music. Always huge for generational identity.
Always.
The lyrics keep saying they listen to the best bands.
Right. Very confident.
Super confident, even though at first we don't know who those bands are.
No, it's just the best, period.
And then verse 2 gives a hint, right? Rock and roll dreamers.
There it is. That gives us a direction.
What do you make of that? Starting vague, then getting a bit more specific.
Well, the certainty is key. It's not just, oh, we like this music. It's, we had the best. Like they experienced something superior.
Uh-huh. A claim of better taste, almost.
Sort of, yeah. And rock and roll dreamers. That pins it down. That genre was so huge then.
Right.
And early rock and roll, it often had that edge, didn't it? Rebellion, independence,
Mm-hmm.
challenging norms.
So identifying with that music was a statement in itself.
A big one, yeah. You weren't just listening. You were part of that cultural wave.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Now, here's a really specific detail. I love this one. They ate at the witch stand.
The witch stand. Yeah, that jumps out.
The FAQs suggest it's like a key local hangout, super important to their social scene, a real touchstone.
Mm-hmm.
Why do those little local details stick, do you think?
Because that's what really binds people, isn't it? Shared places, shared experiences. It goes beyond the big trends.
Yeah, it makes it personal.
Totally.
Mm.
The witch stand. It wasn't just burgers or whatever. It was probably, memories, inside jokes, feeling like you belong somewhere specific.
You can almost picture it. Formative stuff happening right there.
Exactly. It grounds the whole thing.
Such a vivid little detail. Okay, so we've got the look, the cars, the sound, the spot.
The whole scene, yeah.
But what's the main takeaway? The core message threading through it all.
Well, it's got to be that central claim, repeated over and over.
Right, the almost defiant, we were and we are the coolest generation.
Yeah. It's not a question, is it? It's stated as fact, a conviction
And that repetition.
that hammers it home. It's not just like an opinion they hold lightly. It's core identity.
Mm-hmm. Deeply ingrained.
Speaks to huge generational pride.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of rivalry with other generations, too.
Could be. It's a bold stance for sure. That self-assuredness just beams out.
It really does.
Which leads nicely into their attitude, how they describe themselves. Timeless rebels.
Ooh, I like that phrase. Timeless rebels.
And they broke the rules, never went to school. Okay, maybe a bit hyperbolic on that last one.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it paints a picture. Right?
Definitely. The FAQs pick up on it, nonconformist, rejecting traditional norms, the
Yeah.
classic rebel youth thing.
Yeah, and timeless is interesting. It wasn't just a phase. It's like inherently who they are.
Good point. Not just then, but always.
And breaking rules, skipping school. It's all about challenging authority, curving your own path, defining yourself against something.
Right, against the establishment.
Exactly.
Then there's maybe the biggest claim, they ruled the nation.
Whoa, yeah, that's grand.
The FAQs interpret it as, feeling they had major cultural influence, a sense of dominance. How does a generation even feel like it's ruling the nation? What could that mean in practice?
That's a really interesting question. It could be shaping the trends everyone follows. Music, fashion, even language.
Okay, yeah, setting the cultural agenda.
Or maybe through, like, political activism, driving social change.
Could be.
Or maybe it's simpler. Just feeling like you're the main demographic, the one setting the tone because there are so many of you, or you're the most visible.
Right. A feeling of being culturally central. It's a powerful claim, however you slice it.
Very powerful. Suggests they felt their impact was massive, widespread.
So let's talk overall feeling. Reading the lyrics, looking at the FAQs, there's a definite vibe.
Yeah. What vibe do you get?
Well, strongly nostalgic, for one. Celebratory. Looking back.
That's common. Looking back at your youth as, like, a golden age.
Totally. And immense pride. Maybe bordering on boastful, declaring yourselves the coolest.
A little bit boastful, yeah. But confident. Very self-assured.
That's definitely self-assured. It's like they're saying, this was our time and it was the best time.
And that repetition, coolest generation, just locks it in. It's a declaration meant to last, at least in their view.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. According to Donnie Doom's song and the surrounding context, this coolest generation.
Yeah. What's the checklist?
Okay, defined by specific fashion miniskirts, bell-bottoms, tank tops, transport those powerful muscle cars.
Check. Freedom machines.
Music, definitely the best bands, leaning heavily into rock and roll.
Right. Rock and roll dreamers.
Social life centered around specific spots, like the Witch Stand.
The local hub.
A core belief, unwavering in their own coolness.
Absolutely central.
An attitude, timeless rebels, breaking rules, nonconformist.
Check.
And this feeling of impact that they ruled the nation, culturally speaking.
Yes, that's a dominance.
And it's all delivered with this nostalgic pride, total self-assurance.
It's quite the self-portrait they paint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very specific to its time and place.
It really, really is. Which kind of leads to the final thought for everyone listening. Thinking about all these specific markers, the clothes, the cars, the music, that local spot, the rebellious spirit, that deep conviction of being culturally dominant. What is it, really, that allows a generation to look at itself and say, yeah, we were the coolest?
That's a big question.
And maybe just as important, what's the lasting impact? When a generation sees itself that way, with that level of conviction about its own coolness, how does that echo? How does it affect the generations coming after?
Yeah. How do those self-perceptions ripple outwards? Definitely something to chew on.
It's something to think about long after the song ends.